Hey guys, welcome back to another low production video. Let me tell you what today's topic is. I'm going to talk about for a moment something I think is very grounding, kind of like an anchor for all your relationships, and it involves, let's call it the two sides of life. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, basically, in every relationship, I think there's two sides of life that we have to bring to the table. There's a lot of different words we can use for this, but let me give you two. On one side, you've got the love, or the care, the kindness, the compassion, all of the soft stuff. And on the other side, you've got the truth, which is the reality, the expectations, the limits that we set, the values that drive us, the principles. And here's what happens. For a good relationship to work, for a good culture in an office or a company to work, for parenting to work, for marriage to work, for anything to work, both of these have to always be present. You want love and truth together. Because here's what happens. If you only have one, remember those old book titles like Women Who Love Too Much, or People Who Love Too Much, or Caring Too Much, or something? I don't really think you can love too much. I think that love is something that we want to make as infinite as we can. But here's the problem. Sometimes we love without truth. We love without limits. We don't have expectations in our relationships where we love people. And if you're loving without reality anywhere, people can take advantage of you, they can abuse you, they can use you. Let's say that you love your kid, and you love your kid, and you love your kid, so you shower them with all this stuff, and there's no limits, and there's no discipline. Well, what do you produce? Well, probably an addict or something like that, because they don't ever have to answer to reality. On the other side of the equation, sometimes we're just, hard with the truth. We have expectations and, come down on people with anger and all of this. And we forget there's another person there, or we forget there's a person on the other side of it. So here's what integrates our personalities and what integrates relationships as well. When we can do both. When it's an and, always. So think about this. When you're in your significant relationships, be that in business or wherever, be loving, which means to be kind. But in your kindness, also be honest. Okay? So what does this look like? Well, let's say that you're giving feedback, to somebody that you work with. You want to be kind to them and say, you know what, I really care about you and about our work together, and I value our relationship. So I want to talk about an issue that happened the other day. When you turn that report in and it wasn't on time, it kind of put us behind, and I need you to do better, etc. What are we doing? We're not fudging on the issue, but we're not beating anybody up either and failing to be kind, because the problem always comes when we do one or the other. We scream at somebody, or we're hard on them without, in terms of the reality, but we're kind of lacking the kindness of the truth. So I bet you've heard this in parenting. You want to be warm, but you also want to have limits. So when you discipline your child, you want to be caring, but you want to say, you know what, you got to do better than that. I'm going to wait here until you go clean that up again, until you finish your homework. And this is true in all relationships. If you're out there in a dating relationship and you love somebody and you like them, what happens? You might start to fear that if you're honest and start to tell them what you don't like, and you don't want to put up with certain kinds of behavior, or you want them to do something differently, you get afraid that you might be rejected, right? Or they won't like you. Or you fear the other thing, which is, if I'm too honest with them, I'll hurt their feelings. Those are the two big fears that can get us split. Fears of rejection, if we're honest with somebody, they won't like us, or fears of hurting them. Now here's the reality. Are you ready for like a huge wake-up call? The people who are afraid of losing a relationship, if they're honest with the person, by and large, those are the people that get abandoned. Relationships that have the stickiness factor, in other words, that people stick together, are actually the relationships where you're clear about your expectations and the people know kind of how they have to treat you in order for this to work. And that's the paradox. It's the people pleasers that get left. And they're trying to be people pleasers so people will like them, and they end up getting left in the end. So that's kind of the weird thing. And on the other side, the fear of hurting people, you know what? There's a big difference in hurting someone and harming someone. You know, there's a proverb that says the wounds of a friend are better than the kisses of an enemy. And when we tell each other the truth sometimes, you know, it hurts. It hurts to hear that. How many times have you ever heard the phrase, gosh, it hurts to hear that, but I'm, glad you told me. Which is, sometimes it's a little bit of a ding when we get helpful criticism. But it's sort of like going to the dentist. It hurts a little bit, but it's not going to harm you. It's going to help you in the end. So go sit down in your best relationships and say, why don't we covenant together to have an and kind of relationship? Let's care about each other. Let's value each other. Let's be kind to each other. But let's also give each other, reality. Let's give each other really good, truthful feedback. That way our relationship can get better, we can get better, and we can always grow. So be kind on the person and truthful on the issue. Another way to say that, be soft on the person and hard on the issue. If you're always doing those two things, you won't be mad, you'll just be honest, and you'll be kind in the process. Your relationships go a lot better, and you'll find that people produce more in this kind of an environment. Children grow up to be healthier, addicts get sober, a lot of good things really happen. So check it out. And if you want to read about it, I write about this in my book Integrity and also in 9 Things. So take a look, okay? Send me your comments, send it to your friends, stay in tune. It's good to talk with y'all always. Okay, see you next time. Bye.